Good morning, and welcome to the future of the plugin API for Minecraft. As yesterday, we're going to start to introduce ourselves, and my name is Jens Berensten, and I'm the lead developer of Minecraft. And sitting next to me is...
I'm Nathan Adams, also known as Dinnerbar.
I'm Warren, also known as Evil Seth.
And I'm Grum, or Eric.
So these three guys come from the Bucket community and have experience doing plugins for their server. And they have worked with us at Mojang for, well, what is it, 9 months?
Since February the 28th, I believe.
Yeah, so it's more than that. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do a presentation now first, and then we'll have questions. And my presentation will mainly cover the scope and our development plan for the API. And first of all, I'm quickly just going to explain what we see as what a plugin actually is. And I'm sure most of you would have a fairly good idea of this already, but it's a file package, a jar file or similar, that you actually just place somewhere in your Minecraft installation folder that will have some unique information. So each plugin will have an identifier, and this identifier will be different for each plugin type. And it's loaded with your world, so it's not actually loaded with the game. That means that a plugin for us is specific to when you're playing the game, and it will not modify the game engine, so to speak. So, for example, a plugin will not interact with Minecraft until you have started and loaded your world. So you can't change main menu and similar stuff with the API. And also, the plugins will be listed with server information when you play multiplayer, so you can see what plugins a server is using. And finally, of course, it adds or removes functionality for the game. And initially, we will start by allowing plugins to actually add functionality, but in the future, it will also be able to remove functionality that is in vanilla. And we don't really know the details of that plan yet, but it will probably quite soon after we got the API working, I would suppose. Anyway, so where would you get these plugins? You would download them from the web manual, put them in your installation folder, but we will also create a central repository for Minecraft. And the reason for this is that, first, you want it to be easy to find and install plugins from within the game. Secondly, this will help us to have some control over the quality, or at least some security over which plugins that are installed when you join a multiplayer server. So I will talk about this more, but this will be where most people will find their plugins. But you can also install them manually if you go to certain websites. So. And yeah, I already covered how you install them, but you select plugins per world by either when you create a new world, or there will be edit plugin settings in the menus. And you can upgrade plugin versions, but this will not be automatic. You will get some notification that a new version is available. You will have to download it and then manually select if you want to upgrade or not. Because plugins can have conversion steps. For instance, a plugin can have a step that runs when you add a plugin to a world that will prepare it for being used with the plugin. But also, if you decide you no longer want a plugin on a certain world, you will be able to remove it, and then it will have a remove itself process that will remove. For example, if it adds a certain block, then we'll have a process that removes that block again from your world. Whoops. Oh, there we go. In multiplayer, you define it in the property files, I would suppose. I mean, we're still working on this, so things may change. But a multiplayer server will have to use, define which plugins it wants to use, so it can send this information when the client wants to join. And when a player connects, the server, it must have the same plugin, which means the player must either have downloaded the plugin and placed it in the Minecraft folder manually, or it will get the option to get the plugin from the central repository. This means that the server itself won't send plugins, and it's a security measurement mainly. Oh, do you hear me today? Am I understandable? Yesterday there were some problems. I was holding the mic too far away from my mouth. Okay, nobody's complaining at least.
I guess from the front row that's not awesome. I guess from the front row it's not that good. So just talk as loud as you can.
Yeah, try talking louder.
Okay, I should talk louder. Okay. To develop a plugin, you will code something in Java. So Minecraft will remain a Java-based game, and your plugins will be a Java archive that will implement the API interfaces. Details are, though, still unclear. We are still working on this, but that's the main thing. And then publishing your plugin, which means when you publish is to put it on the central repository. And that will be handled through our new blog, or that will be improved over time. And it's on dev.minecraft.net. And it's already up with a few blog posts written by Warren. And there you will find information about how you can send feature suggestions by using our Jira issue tracker. From this page, you will upload updates and change logs. But there's a small thing here, and it's you will not be able to remove a plugin once you've updated it, because people have these unique identifiers for the plugins, and it has to be a specific version of the plugin, which means you will need to do, if you're uncertain about testing your plugin before publishing it, you should do your own snapshots, similar to how we do our snapshots before pushing it in the launcher. So you will probably have your own blog or some other way of communicating with your fans for your plugins, and then ask them to test things before you publish a new version. And this is another sensitive topic. We've been talking a lot back and forth if plugin creators should be able to monetize the plugins, but we have decided not in the repository, because the repository will not be, it's not created for us to earn revenue like for ads or similar. So the repository will be a free place. Everything that's published on the repository is free. So plugin makers will not be compensated for publishing their plugins there. However, you will still be able to monetize on Minecraft that you have been doing up until now. You can do your own site with ads on it, and you can do your tutorials on YouTube with ads and so on. And we are not going to hunt down anything like that. The same rules as for our terms of... We have terms of use on our Minecraft.net website, and basically it says that you may not use the name Minecraft in an official style. You have to give your plugin your own name, and you can say that it's Minecraft plugin, but you may not use Minecraft as the name of the plugin. The next thing is more complicated, and that is you can't say that just because you made a plugin with a certain feature, you have exclusive rights to that idea. For example, if you see the Pistons mod, we decided to contact Hippopotamus, who made the original Piston mod, and he helped us implementing it, and he has credits for that in the Minecraft end text. However, if you make a plugin with a feature like that, and we may already have our own plans for a similar feature, you may not claim exclusivity for that feature. And the same goes for other plugin makers. So I'm sure we're going to have some internet drama. So be nice to one another. It's the best tip I have. But there are so many developers that do mods now that it's very difficult to protect ideas. The copyright laws are still in place, obviously. So if you have drawn a texture or made a model or something like that, that belongs to you and you have the copyrights of that. So people may not just freely steal the work you have done. So, the development plan for this. First step is to make Minecraft more flexible and allow for more dynamic changes in what features that are loaded. And we are already working on this, and some of these features will be in 1.5. And I'm going to show you a movie clip a little bit in a minute to one of these changes. The next step is to enable plugin loading, and this is basically just to get the architecture for how plugins are loaded into the game into place. And this will probably be done in parallel with actually adding features for the API. But I personally think this is a very important step because it means that the plugin can be loaded even if it doesn't do anything, and then you can work from there. It makes a good starting point. And then do the rest of the API. And do you want to say? Yes.
The next step is profit, but we didn't have time to put it on the sign.
Yeah. And this will take a while, but we have started working. And after that, or actually while we're doing the API, we wanted to make the vanilla gameplay like a plugin of itself, but it's default, and then people can choose to unload features by using the plugin system. But this is the long-term goal. So I'm going to show you a movie clip, and this is nothing. It's nothing new actually. There are mods that do this. I'm just showing that this is in vanilla now, and what we have done is that we have to get rid of all hard-coded IDs, identifiers in the game, and that is IDs for the blocks, IDs for texture locations or block texture positions in the texture map, and same for items and so on. So what we've done now is that block textures are identified by name instead of by numbers, and that allowed us to do animated textures. So we can run the clip.
Dinner. Closer and harder. Just talk as if you're talking to me right here. I know.
Obviously, that is only a texture, but what each individual block texture can now be animated. The portal texture in that video clip was also animated using the new system. This will make it much easier to do the lava and water textures that previously had to be modded to change. And you can actually animate any texture that is in the terrain texture pack.
It's also worth noting that the new textures, as no IDs are hard-coded, and we do have animated texture support now, this does mean HD textures are also supported in the game now, any size.
It will also mean that if we add a new block, then the texture pack you may be using will not get an invisible or pink block. It will get the default texture for the new block until the texture pack has been updated. So we move on to questions. And yes, we have a mic over here, so you have to queue. And today's topic is the API. Please also direct the question to one of us.
Doesn't matter, we all answer anyway.
My question is, buckets getting more and more integrated into Minecraft. Is there any point that the craft bucket plugin will be part of Minecraft? Because I think the main problem we have if you're a server owner is that you're waiting for craft bucket to get updated, and you've got people who are updating their clients and can't join through to your games. I don't know who's the best to address that.
Yeah. The point of the API is that it will replace Bucket, so that the thing with Bucket is it's limited, whereas with the API that we're planning, it's never been done before, and it's going to be much more powerful. So we can't really put Bucket into Minecraft, because then it would be as limited as Bucket was.
Right.
And so when this API is done, I mean, we're hoping to get it to the point where if you don't like creepers, you can just remove that plugin, and then you won't have creepers in Minecraft anymore. Or if you don't want creepers to explode, then you can just remove that functionality, and you'll have creepers chasing you around that don't explode. So then the update process, the waiting and everything will be done, because plugins shouldn't break when an update comes out if they're using our API.
Well, thank you for that. Cheers.
Yeah. Oh,
Two questions, if I may. First, can you elaborate on how mods will, or how plugins will be sandboxed?
Did you?
The question is if we can elaborate on how plugins will be sandboxed. I think that we shouldn't allow any code to, for example, open sockets on, and that's especially on the client side. On the server side, there can be a bit more flexibility, and we would need to allow the owner of the server to specifically allow certain things to be done by a certain plugin, as for example, opening sockets or writing outside of, or writing files or connecting to a database and things like that.
Okay. My second question is, have you decided on a license for the API yet?
You can do that, of course.
question.
The question was if we have decided on a license for the API, and no, we haven't, because we got one from our lawyer, but we can't use that, so we have to create a new one. I don't know yet. I'm sorry. We'll post it on the blog when we know.
Thank you.
This kind of ties in with the last question, but would this allow developers to release their plugins as open source? Because previously with the Minecraft Coder Pack, that was impossible legally because it will require releasing Minecraft source code.
The question was, will plugins be allowed to be open source, I believe? Yes, absolutely. In fact, we encourage it. Open source plugins, it means that people can be sure exactly what your plugin is doing, and they can help you develop it. I mean, the API itself will hopefully be open source, so absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So it looks like Bucket's got a lot of representation here, but a lot of the current mods are based off the Forge API. I was wondering how that ties into development plans and whether you're looking at that as well.
Yes, we're actually looking into the Forge things as well. I've recently been invited into their internal development channels, and they do most of the things that Bucket can do as well, but they focus really on the client side, so adding assets and controlling those and doing things with the UI. So yes, we're absolutely looking into that as well.
Thanks.
So my understanding is that a server-side mod sometimes might or sometimes might not require a client-side mod to go with it. And I think you mentioned that in the case where you have a server-side mod that requires also a client-side mod, that there's going to be some functionality to somewhat automatically download that. Can you explain a little more about that?
Yes, the question was if there will be functionality to automatically download mods when you connect to a server that requires it, right?
Yes.
And yes, it will have that functionality, but only if that plugin version is available on the central repository. So it will not get it from the server that you are connecting to because of security reasons. So, yes.
Yes, and also the user will have to accept it. So we won't do anything without the player authorizing it. And what was the question again? No, it's okay. No, there's another aspect I wanted to cover.
Will there be a way so that you can just have a server-side plugin without a client-side?
That was it.
Some servers, because it can, depending on how much RAM your server has, there might not be enough for your server to, and it might just lag up the server so much that you couldn't actually do anything with all the plugins being constantly downloaded. So could you just have it so it, because it's not doing anything to edit the client-side graphics, and it's just to do stuff like adding text into a game or something like that. Could that just be only on the server side?
Right, so the question is...
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, so the question is if we would allow plugins to sort of be split up into two parts, if nothing is needed on the client, to just have the server side?
Just have the server side?
Yeah, so I think for the client, we would only need to download things to the client if we actually have new assets, for example, models or sounds or things that need to be displayed in the UI. If that isn't necessary, so there's only server-side logic, I don't think it would be necessary to download anything on the client indeed. So I think it's wise to make a split there.
Thanks.
I would also like to point out the second part of your question was the same as before, that the server itself will not be affected by the client's fetching plugins, because they will be fetched from a different location than where the server is running.
Are you guys planning on adapting or taking any pieces of the current APIs like Forge, or are you guys going to start with a completely clean slate?
Okay, the question was, will we be taking parts of the API from current mods, or will we be making our own from scratch? We will be making it completely from scratch, but it will be with the assistance of all the major APIs right now and their input onto it. We don't want to limit ourselves too much, and APIs are really difficult to change once we have them.
Okay, if a plugin adds a new block or item, for example, how would a texture pack maker create and add texture for that block or item from a plugin?
Okay, the question was, how will texture pack makers make icons for new blocks and items added by the API?
Yeah.
The way the new texture pack system works in 1.5 is that every texture is just a name, like wood.png inside a folder. So they would just call it whatever the name of the block is.
With the API, you said that plugins are going to be loaded with the world. So what does this mean for mods which load as you load the game, like sound packs, which is controlled through the main menu?
The question was about mods that add sounds to the menu. And
No, mods which like control through the main menu, like settings.
Control the main menu. That will not be supported by the API. However, plugins may have like configuration settings in its initializer, and these will show up in the options menu. So we'll create some kind of dynamic user interface that will find and display the configurable parts of the plugins you have for your world. I briefly mentioned this in the modding by professional panel yesterday, that certain mods that we have today will not be possible to do using the API because they are actually working right on the engine itself. For instance, Optify. But we are hoping that the new client that we are making now will help us make that unnecessary. That's the ambition anyway. But yes, our API will focus on the game world.
Right, so I have a question about the modding API. So can you change the block properties so only certain blocks or entities can be placed on that certain block? Because I got this note here, if you could take a look at it later.
Yes, it would definitely be possible to do. Oh, sorry. The question was if we would be allowed to change behavior if you, for example, place a block or an entity to only be allowed on certain other blocks. And yes, that should be possible. And should be relatively easy as well.
You mentioned having a publishing site to kind of centralize all the plugins being made. Are you planning on adding any sort of requests or suggestion section, kind of like how we have Get Satisfaction right now?
Do you mean for each mod?
Like
or each plugin?
Sort of how you have some websites or like the Minecraft forums where people will talk about features that they'd like added. Are you planning on adding any sort of section to the like dev.minecraft.net for people to like suggest plugins or mods?
The question was, are we going to have community or resources around the Minecraft API and the Minecraft development community?
Yes.
Yes, we are. That's part of my job. Yeah, I'm going to be starting up a Minecraft development community that's going to have resources like tutorials, forums where people can talk to developers and request things and all that.
Okay.
Will the new API cause any lag server-side or client-side?
Okay, the question was, will the new API cause any lag? Hopefully not. We don't plan for lag.
Will there be a way where we can get mods directly from the game instead of websites?
Okay, the question was, will there be a way to get mods directly from the game instead of a website?
Yep.
That was covered in the slideshow by Jens.
Yeah. We will have a place where developers can publish their plugins, and when they're published there, they will be browsable from within the Minecraft client. So you can pick and choose, and then it will help you download it, place it in correct folder, and then when you create the world, you can choose to load plugins with the world, or you can add the plugins to existing worlds. So there will be a central place that you can download from within the game. Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have any ideas for new mobs?
For new mobs or mods?
Mobs.
Monsters or plugins?
Monster or animal. Enfin, animal. Two.
Well, the question was if we have any ideas for new mobs. Well, I mean, there are a lot of animals still waiting to be added, but we haven't planned anything at the moment. No. So that is part of our vanilla development, and yeah, we haven't planned anything now at the moment. No.
Would the API be able to add new mobs?
Absolutely. The question was, will the API be able to add new mobs? And yes, that's one of the main.
And for the animated textures, isn't that already in the code? Like if you /give yourself the lava block or water block or fire block, that's an animated texture.
The question was if we don't already have animated textures. And yes, that is true. Currently, the portal texture is already a texture of an animation of 20 steps. And the lava and fire and water, they are procedurally calculated every step, every tick. The point we have now is that the animations are now separate from the code of the game. So they are actually in files, PNG files. So you will be able to create your own animations for any kind of block, not only those that are hard-coded to be animated.
Thank you.
If you want an example for visualizing this, you could replace the portal texture in a texture pack with a GIF of Jens's epic hair flip, and it'll work.
Hey guys, with the new API, would it be possible to create entirely new menus and, for example, dev console, where you just can edit parameters during runtime?
The question was if the API will allow you to create completely new menus. I would say no, but it will be possible to create like blocks like the furnace and stuff that has their own user interfaces. So I think people will figure out a way to do their own menus, but it will not be one of the main features of the API. But I'm sure people will find a way anyway.
Okay, thanks.
Hi. This question might have been answered already, but if you install the API mod, does this mean you have to get rid of buckets altogether?
Okay, the question was, if you install the API mod, will you have to get rid of buckets? The API won't be a mod. It's going to be in the vanilla game itself. Buckets, I believe, may still be developed on top of this API in the future when the API is in the game itself. And you can use that if you want to, but the goal is ultimately that you won't need to.
Yeah, to make it easier. Thank you.
Hi. This is not really a mod question, but
It's just once I wanted to enchant a sword. I clicked on level 30 and I got this really crappy enchantment. Just like knockback 2 and that's it. Are you at any point gonna fix that?
The question was if we are going to make the enchantments more. How should I formalize that? Well, you got a really crappy enchantment for a very high price, and you wonder if we're gonna fix that. And we don't plan to, but the historic reason why it is like that is because when it was created originally by Notch, and he wanted it to be a gambling game, and sometimes you can get really lucky, and sometimes you can have really bad luck. And I know it sucks when you have bad luck, but I don't see us changing it right now, because sometimes game development isn't about doing what is nice to everyone all the time, but to create a world that is has its own rules. But since this is a mod API discussion, you will probably find a plugin that will help you get rid of this nasty behavior. I hope that helps.
Thanks.
Hello. About the dependencies between plugins, will you have a solution to being able to depend to another plugin, but also exclude other plugins if there may be some incompatibilities between them?
Okay, the question was, do we have a solution for plugins that depend on other plugins and plugins that may be incompatible with other plugins? I think Eric may be best suited.
Yes, we will definitely add a way for you to add dependencies on another plugin. As far as incompatibilities go, that kind of is between the people who write the plugins and that set the dependencies. If they say they depend on something, they better be compatible with it. The other way around, they can't really control it, obviously, because they can't control who says what has a dependency on them. So yes, it should absolutely be possible to make dependencies on things, but conflicts, they will just have to resolve themselves.
Do you think you are going to use Maven for that?
Yes, we will most likely use a Maven-like structure to do dependencies, because it is something that is already being used and it is quite comfortable to use.
Thank you very much.
I was going to ask about dependencies, but you already answered that. So instead, will there be a possibility to add a donate button in the plugins repository, like it's with many plugins right now?
The question was if it will be possible to place a donate button in the repository.
Or just put a link in there so the user can click it.
Okay, they say yes, I think so. But in any case, there will be possible to place links to your website, and you can, since that is possible, you will be able to make a link directly to your donation. But we'll see. I don't think that. I think that will be possible, but I can't give a promise on that.
Okay, thank you.
I actually have two small questions. The first one, will there be some kind of ore dictionary as where you could register ores? And also, would that allow you, for example, if two mods have the same ore, you could choose between textures?
Okay, the question was if we'd have some kind of ore dictionary so we can choose between ores in a world, and if two plugins add the same ores, would we be able to choose between the two textures. Ideally, they wouldn't be adding the same ores. If they would, then they'd say, hey, use the ore from this plugin, or they'd have some parent plugin or something like that. And as far as ore dictionary goes, I guess you mean for like registering it for placing in the world. like terrain generation, you'd be able to register it separately for all those things. And not specifically, this is an ore, do what ores do.
Okay. The other question is, people already asked if there would be server-side only mods. Will there be client-side only mods?
Okay, this question is, will there be client-side only mods?
Aren't those basically just texture packs, sound packs, and replacement of models? I think they are, so we don't necessarily need to have a plugin for that. A client can just do that locally on its own system.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a big part of this, the work on the API is that we're going to change the way the client and server works. That we're going to dumb down the clients. So the server is going to make most of the decisions. The client will mostly handle like displaying things and assets and stuff like that.
When Minecraft updates to a new version, will mods still be compatible?
The question was, when Minecraft updates to a new version, will mods still be compatible? In a perfect world, yes, because in the future, vanilla will be its own mod. So when we change the vanilla mod, all mods will not be affected. However, there is a risk that this will change things in the game engine, and that will affect mods. But we know this causes a lot of frustration when the game changes, the mods has to be updated. So we are going to do our best to avoid a situation like that. But for the near future or the next coming updates, you will still have the problem with having to update mods.
Will mod developers have to start coding the mods from scratch to fit with the API, or will they just be able to rework it slightly and it fits?
Okay, the question was, will current mod developers have to recode their plugin, well, their mod from scratch, or will they just be able to rework it properly? I guess this depends entirely on the mod in question. Most of them should have the behavior split from the actual implementation. Those ones, they just have to rework a little bit of the interface and then it would work. But I would guess that there'd be a lot of work involved for the majority of mods to fit the new model.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the good thing about the API is that once they do that work, it won't break with updates. So it's just one time they'll have to do this, and then it'll be all worth it.
This is not about API, but can you add smooth stone stairs? Please.
A mod can do it.
No, but the question was if we can do smooth stone stairs. And we said we would do nether brick half slabs yesterday, but smooth stone stairs isn't. Smooth stone is not a crafted material, so I don't think so. So, but yeah, I'd say no to that for now at least.
Will you ever add nether brick half slabs?
Yeah, we said we would do that. We said yesterday that we would add nether brick half slabs.
Just as this is an API panel, we had the vanilla discussion yesterday, so please try to keep questions related to the API.
Why is the blocks in Minecraft formed like a cube?
Why are the blocks in Minecraft formed like a cube? Was that a question?
It is the best shape.
Yes, it's a very good shape, yes.
Because you can't have a table that's a sphere.
Will you make some sort of content filtering so people don't post images of good plugins and then just make it so when you download it, everything in your world will blow up or something?
Can you please repeat the question?
Will you put in content filtering so if people can put images of really good plugins and then just make it so when you go on it your world explodes? or something.
Okay, the question was, will there be some kind of content filter so that a mod can't pretend to be a really good plugin, but actually it destroys your world? Ideally, yes. I mean, we can't automatically test for this, but there will be some kind of feedback system where you can report bad plugins. I can't guarantee that they'll be there at the start, though.
Yeah, we will have to rely on the help from the community on this, but there will likely be rating systems, so you can avoid plugins with really low rating. There will be a report system, so you can report a plugin if it violates copyright laws, or if it's doing something wrong or something otherwise. So hopefully you will not be the victim of an evil plugin.
If a mod promises to add huggable green bushes, don't trust it.
When will Minecraft 1.5 be released?
The 1.5 will have fireworks. We hope to have it by New Year's Eve, but I doubt it. So maybe somewhere in January.
I don't know if this has already been asked, but will there ever be some kind of friend system in Minecraft?
The question was, will there be some kind of friend system in Minecraft? I answered this question yesterday, and the problem is that it's a very big web development feature on the web server side. We will have a friend system. It will cover all the Mojang account games, Scrolls, Cobalt, and Minecraft, and Tended Sea in the future. But this will be in development during next year.
Thank you.
This question is probably going to annoy you a lot, but how buggy do you expect the API to be?
Okay, the question is, how buggy do we expect the API to be? Well, we do have Silverfish, and they get into everything.
This question might have already been answered, but will the modding API allow changes to the game's internal code, or just additions to it?
Okay, the question was, will the modding API allow changes to the internal code? Can you be more specific to that?
Will it allow you to change something like pigs into spiders, or allow you not to take falling damage anymore, or will it just allow additions, like a new boat or something?
It will allow you to modify existing stuff.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's going to be like any more uses for slime, like slime balls.
The question was if we're going to add any more use for the slime balls. We haven't planned it for 1.5. It has been on the table a number of times, so I'm sure we'll find another use for it sooner or later.
Cheers.
Will the modding API go onto the Xbox version of it? Of Minecraft?
The question was if the mod API will go on the Xbox version. I don't think so.
Okay.
You'll have to ask the Xbox team for that.
So my question is, will the API can we modify the actual physics of the game, like the gravity or the lava, the water, something?
Okay, this question was, will we be able to modify the physics of the game, such as gravity or lava or water? Hopefully and theoretically, yes, but no promises.
I know Eric really wants that, don't you? Yeah.
I would really like to make an upside-down world, or a world where you run into a wall and then you just walk straight up to it, and your screen just shifts. But we have to see how easy it is to do, and how it's probably not something we'll do in the very first iteration. But I really want it, so hopefully we can make it.
Okay, thank you.
Two popular client-side mods are Optifine and Raise Minimap. Are they staying client-side, or are you going to add some of that functionality into the main game? 'Cause especially with Optifine, 'cause you can customize so many settings to improve your performance, and Minecraft currently limits what you can do.
Okay, the question was, will we be adding Raise Minimap and Optifine into the vanilla
What
game?
settings like that, not necessarily
Well,
those
things like
things.
them, yes. Things like Optifine, Eric and his team are actually working on rewriting the rendering engine, so Optifine isn't even going to be a question. It's just going to be better. And the minimap, we have maps in the game. I think that's a gameplay choice more than anything.
But I think you will be able to create a minimap with the API, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Since you're going to be changing the client in the mod API to make it a kind of dumb client, how are you going to handle doing the prediction that's necessary to keep smooth gameplay in a network environment with mods?
Okay, this question was, how are we going to adjust the network to allow for good prediction with dumb client? We need the server to inform the client of everything that it needs to know about. So if the client needs to predict something, the server has to tell it in advance, this is a good idea of how something is going to work. We haven't finalized plans for that, though, I'm afraid.
Will you allow custom packets to be sent from the client to the server and from the server to the client?
I can answer this one. Yes, the question is, will we allow custom packets to be sent client to server and vice versa? We already have behavior for this in vanilla. It's called the payload packet. We're not going to let you send raw packets themselves, just because we don't believe you need to. If you need to transfer information, you can do this using this payload packet. It works on a channel system, so the server tells the client it's listening for stuff related to a minimap, and then the client will only send that stuff to the server if it knows the server is listening for it.
Will the flint and steel be ever fixed? Because as of now, the flint just floats above your hand if you hold it.
The question was, will flint and steel ever be fixed? Because right now it floats above your hand when you hold it. Sure.
Will plugin authors be able to have something like a support ticket system or even a forum on their own plugin pages in the repository? Similar to dev.bucket.org? Like,
the question was if each plugin will have its own forum and support or a ticket system for support and feedback from players and developers alike. That would be very useful to have. For example, if you look at Steam, every game on Steam has its own forums, and that's really handy. So it's definitely something we'll look into, but our web development team has so much to do. So maybe later it will come eventually, as we like to say it at Mojang.
okay, thanks.
Hi. How do you see the API affecting server memory usage, particularly in comparison with Bucket, for example?
So the question is, how will the server API, or how would the API affect server memory usage? It shouldn't actually do anything unless you start to allocate a lot of memory from within a plugin. So in itself, it shouldn't make any difference.
How long has this game been around?
How long has Minecraft been around? Notch started working at home on Minecraft in May 2009. Then in November last year, 2011, the official release of Minecraft was published. And now we continued another year, so what does that make it? 2.5, no, 3 years? Well, yeah.
A while.
Will the API be added to Pocket Edition or Xbox 360?
Okay, the question was, will the API be added to the Pocket Edition or the Xbox 360? Again, you'll have to ask those teams, but I doubt it. If it will, it probably won't be exactly the same.
This is a question for all of you. How long longer do you think Minecraft will go on for?
The question was how long Minecraft will go on for.
Yeah, go on.
I think with the API, it will go on for a very, very long time, because even if we are a small team making small stuff for vanilla, the community is huge, as you can see, and people will create things with... The good thing about the API is people will make things that are interested in Minecraft. They will create really specific things, really complicated things, and then really detailed things in their interest areas, like crafting or mining or role-playing or strategy gaming and so on. And that will make the game last for a very, very long time. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Will we be able to place different slabs on top of each other?
The question was if we were going to be able to place different slabs on top of each other. I answered this question yesterday. I'm going to give us a shorter answer now. It's very unlikely because of technical limitations of how the world works now.
Is it possible that once you drink a night vision potion, you can see invisible people on multiplayer?
The question was if it's possible that drinking night vision potion will make you see invisible mobs. It's definitely possible.
It's a nice idea, actually.
And it's a nice idea.
Modding API.
Or you can do a mod.
This is specifically for Dinnerbone, but I was wondering about your lighting engine and if the changes that you made are going to stay in 1.5 or you're going to scrap it and start again.
Okay, the question was about the lighting engine. The changes I made previously, which I scrapped one update later, are they going to be staying 1.5 or will I be doing them again? I don't know yet. I have to investigate it. There's a lot of repercussions for any changes I make, and it was way too resource intensive. So I have to review it, see if I can keep it, see if I have to do it again.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Before I exit here, finish this, I have to be somewhere in the convention center right after this. I'm actually going to the Cobalt panel to see it. So I will not be able to do autographs or photographs. So you please have understanding for that. You can answer for yourself if you want to do something.
I'm going to the Redstone panel.
Yeah, I'm going to the panel as well, so.
So I'm sorry, but maybe later, okay? And thank you all for coming and listening to us.
Yeah,
it's
thanks.
been good, guys.
Thanks a lot. Have a good Minecon.